Every person carries dreams in their heart, visions of what life could be, if only they dared to pursue them. Yet between us and those dreams often stand invisible walls. These barriers may be fear, doubt, limited resources, or the voices of others telling us it cannot be done. But barriers are not final. They are challenges, tests of our determination, and opportunities to grow stronger. Every great achievement in history was once a dream trapped behind walls, waiting for someone brave enough to break through. Breaking barriers begins in the mind. Before you can overcome external obstacles, you must confront the internal ones, the doubts that whisper, "You're not ready," or "You're not good enough," are more dangerous than any physical obstacle. Once you silence those voices and replace them with belief, you've already taken the first sledgehammer to the wall in front of you. Believe in your worth, believe in your potential, and refuse to let anyone convince you otherwise. The truth is, barriers are not there to keep you out. They are there to see how badly you want to get in. They force you to develop the courage, persistence, and creativity required to succeed. If everything were easy, dreams would have no value. It's the struggle, the sweat, and the persistence that make victory so sweet. Each time you push forward, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagined. You start to realize that the biggest limits you faced were the ones you accepted without question. Building dreams is not an overnight act. It is laying one brick at a time, even when the wind is against you. It is believing in a vision that only you can see until others begin to see it too. There will be days when progress feels slow, when your energy runs low, and when the weight of uncertainty makes you question everything. In those moments, remember why you started. Remember that dreams are not built in comfort zones. They are built in moments of grit, when you keep going even though quitting seems easier. You may face rejection. You may face failure. But every time you rise after a fall, you are one step closer to your goal. The world is full of people who stopped just before their breakthrough, but it is also full of people who made history because they refused to stop. You get to choose which one you will be. Your dreams are not too big. They are exactly the size they need to be to bring out the greatness within you. Do not wait for perfect conditions. The right moment will never arrive, because the right moment is the one you create. Start with what you have, where you are, and take the first step. Every small action compounds into something extraordinary. Every time you break a barrier, you open a door, not only for yourself, but for others who will follow in your footsteps. You become proof that it can be done, and that proof is powerful enough to inspire generations. So when you stand before the walls in your life, do not see them as the end. See them as a challenge calling your name. Pick up your tools, your courage, your determination, your belief, and strike until the barrier falls. Then, with that same strength, start building your dream brick by brick, never stopping until the vision in your heart stands before you in reality. Your future is waiting, and it will not be built by hesitation. It will be built by action. Barriers are not permanent roadblocks, but tests of determination and belief. They often appear in moments when you are reaching for something greater, as if life itself is asking, "How badly do you want this?" They can take many forms. A lack of resources, people doubting you, unexpected challenges, or even your own fear whispering that you might fail. Yet, the truth is that these barriers are not immovable. They are not there to keep you from achieving your dreams forever. They are there to measure your persistence, to refine your skills, and to strengthen the belief you hold in yourself. Think of every obstacle you have faced in the past. In the moment, it might have seemed impossible to overcome, but with time, you found a way around it, over it, or through it. That is the nature of barriers. They test your creativity, your resilience, and your capacity to adapt. Those who succeed in life are rarely the ones who never face barriers. Instead, they are the ones who meet these challenges head on and refuse to let them define their limits. They understand that what may feel like the end of the road is often just a bend, leading to a new path you couldn't see before. Belief plays a crucial role in this process. If you believe a barrier is permanent, it will be. If you believe it is only temporary, you will look for solutions until you find one. Belief is the fuel that keeps you moving when progress seems invisible. It's the quiet voice that says, keep going. You're closer than you think, even when the evidence around you feels discouraging. Without belief, determination fades quickly. But when belief and determination work together, you develop the unshakable mindset that no obstacle is too great. Determination is not just about sheer stubbornness. It is about committing to a course of action, even when the journey becomes uncomfortable. It is about showing up every day, no matter how slow the progress feels, and refusing to let setbacks convince you to quit. Determination is strengthened each time you push through resistance. Every small victory builds momentum, and momentum has the power to carry you over even the highest barriers. Sometimes barriers are blessings in disguise. They may delay you, but they also prepare you. Imagine a door you want to open, but behind it is a challenge you are not yet ready for. The barrier in front of you forces you to develop the skills, knowledge, or character needed to handle what's on the other side. When you finally overcome the obstacle, you are better equipped to succeed in the long term. Without that preparation, what awaited you might have overwhelmed you. In this way, barriers can be like the weights you lift in training, difficult at first, but the very thing that makes you stronger. It is also worth remembering that barriers can be self-imposed. Often, the limits we believe are real exist only in our minds. We tell ourselves that we are not ready, that we don't have what it takes, or that the dream is too far out of reach. These mental barriers are some of the toughest to break because they feel so personal. But once you start questioning these beliefs, you often discover they were built on fear rather than fact. The moment you choose to challenge these mental limits, you begin to dismantle them. Facing a barrier can be discouraging, but perspective changes everything. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking, what is this teaching me? This shift in mindset turns a barrier into a teacher. Each obstacle contains a lesson about patience, about perseverance, about problem solving that will serve you in the future. With each lesson learned, the next barrier feels less intimidating. The most inspiring success stories are not about people who had a smooth path. They are about people who refused to stop when they encountered walls. Athletes who trained despite injuries. Entrepreneurs who kept building after multiple failures. Students who studied relentlessly despite repeated setbacks. These are examples of determination fueled by belief. They knew the barrier was temporary, and they treated it as a challenge rather than a defeat. You must also remember that breaking a barrier doesn't always mean smashing through it in one dramatic moment. Sometimes it means chipping away at it, bit by bit, over days, months, or even years. The persistence to keep going, even when progress is slow, is what separates those who stop from those who succeed. Each strike against the wall may not seem significant on its own, but over time, it weakens the barrier until it finally collapses. So the next time you encounter a barrier, pause and remind yourself, this is not the end. This is a test. Ask yourself how much you are willing to grow, adapt, and believe in your own potential. If you choose to see it as a temporary challenge rather than a permanent block, you give yourself the power to find a way forward. Determination will keep you moving. Belief will keep you from giving up. Together, they will turn every barrier into a stepping stone toward your dreams. Overcoming internal doubts is the first step to breaking external obstacles. The most powerful and limiting barriers you will ever face are not the ones in the world around you. They are the ones in your own mind. Doubts creep in quietly, often disguised as caution or logic, but their effect is the same. They slow your steps, weaken your confidence, and make you question your worth. Before you can push past the challenges in front of you, you must first silence the voice inside that says you can't. That voice is persistent, and it knows your fears better than anyone else. But it can be challenged, reshaped, and eventually replaced with a voice of strength. Internal doubt is often rooted in past experiences. A single failure, a harsh word from someone you respected, or a time you felt unprepared can plant seeds of uncertainty that grow over the years. Each time you encounter a new challenge, those memories resurface and whisper, "Remember the last time? You couldn't do it then, and you won't be able to now." This pattern becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy if left unchecked. The key to overcoming it is recognizing that your past does not define your future. Every attempt is a new opportunity, and your ability to succeed is not limited to what has happened before. Breaking free from internal doubt begins with self-awareness. You must identify the specific fears that are holding you back. Are you afraid of failing, of being judged, of not being good enough? Naming these fears takes away some of their power because it brings them into the light. Once you can see them clearly, you can start challenging them. Ask yourself, is this fear based on fact, or is it a story I've been telling myself? More often than not, you'll find that it's a story, a narrative shaped by moments in your life that don't represent your full potential. Another important step is replacing doubt with evidence of your capabilities. Your mind responds strongly to proof, so remind yourself of times when you faced challenges and succeeded. Even small wins matter because they show you are capable of progress. Keep a mental, or even physical, list of these victories. Each time doubt tries to convince you that you can't, you will have undeniable proof that you can. Over time, this builds a foundation of confidence that doubt struggles to shake. It is also essential to understand that internal doubt doesn't disappear overnight. You can't just decide to be confident and expect it to stick without practice. Overcoming doubt is a daily choice. It requires consistent action that proves to yourself again and again that you are capable. Each step you take outside your comfort zone weakens the grip of doubt and strengthens your belief in yourself. The more often you challenge yourself, the smaller doubt becomes. One of the most damaging effects of internal doubt is that it can make external obstacles seem much larger than they actually are. When you doubt yourself, every challenge looks like a mountain, even if it's just a hill. But when you approach life with inner confidence, those same challenges shrink into manageable steps. This is why overcoming doubt must come first, because until you believe you can climb, the size of the mountain won't matter. You will stop before you even begin. It's important to remember that doubt can sometimes disguise itself as protection. It tells you not to try because it doesn't want you to get hurt. But in protecting you from potential failure, it also protects you from potential success. Life is not about avoiding pain at all costs. It's about living fully, even if that means facing challenges along the way. The discomfort of trying and failing is temporary, but the regret of never trying can last a lifetime. Surrounding yourself with the right influences can also help quiet internal doubt. When you spend time with people who encourage you, believe in your abilities, and remind you of your strengths, their confidence in you can help rebuild your own. On the other hand, constantly being around those who feed your fears will only make them stronger. Choose your environment wisely, because it shapes the voice you hear inside your head. Finally, you must be willing to act even when doubt is still present. Waiting for doubt to vanish before you start will keep you stuck forever. Confidence often comes after action, not before. The moment you take a step forward despite your fears, you begin to shift the balance of power. With every action, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your hesitation. And as you stack these moments, doubt has less and less room to speak. Overcoming internal doubt is a journey, but it's one worth taking. The external obstacles in your life may be tall and challenging, but they are nothing compared to the walls you build inside your own mind. Once you break those inner walls, you will discover a strength that makes external challenges feel smaller, lighter, and far more conquerable. When your belief in yourself becomes stronger than your fear, you become unstoppable, not because the world has no obstacles, but because you finally believe you can rise above them. Dreams are built through persistence, patience, and consistent small actions. The vision you hold in your heart might be grand and inspiring, but it will only become reality if you are willing to work for it day after day, even when the progress feels invisible. Many people give up not because their dream is impossible, but because they expect instant results. The truth is, the most meaningful goals require time, effort, and an unshakable commitment to keep going through the slow and quiet seasons when nothing seems to be happening. Persistence is the engine that keeps you moving forward when the road gets rough. There will be moments when the path feels too long, when obstacles keep appearing, and when your energy begins to fade. In those moments, persistence is the decision to take one more step, even if you feel like stopping. It is refusing to let temporary discomfort dictate your long-term future. Persistence doesn't mean you never feel tired or discouraged. It means you acknowledge those feelings, but choose to keep going anyway. Every time you push past that point where most people would quit, you set yourself apart from the crowd. Patience is the quiet strength that keeps you from giving up just because the results aren't immediate. In a world where everything is built for speed, patience can feel like a disadvantage, but it is actually a superpower. Dreams are like seeds. You plant them, water them, and nurture them before they ever break through the soil. If you dig them up every week to check if they've grown, you'll kill them before they have a chance to flourish. Patience is trusting the process, even when you can't yet see the outcome. It's understanding that progress often happens beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. Consistent small actions are the building blocks of any dream. Big achievements are rarely the result of one dramatic leap. They are the accumulation of countless small, intentional steps taken over time. Writing one page a day leads to a finished book. Saving a little money each week leads to financial freedom. Training for an hour each day leads to physical transformation. These actions may seem insignificant in the moment, but together they create unstoppable momentum. Consistency matters more than intensity, because what you do regularly shapes your life far more than what you do once in a while. It's easy to get excited at the beginning of a dream when motivation is high and the vision is fresh in your mind. But motivation will not always be there. That's when discipline must take over. Discipline means showing up to do the work even when you don't feel like it. It's getting up early to practice, studying when you'd rather relax, and making choices today that serve the person you want to become tomorrow. This steady, disciplined effort is what turns hope into habit and habit into achievement. There will be setbacks along the way, unexpected events that slow you down or even push you back a few steps. Persistence and patience are what keep you from seeing those setbacks as the end of your journey. Every challenge carries a lesson, and every delay gives you a chance to strengthen your character. Sometimes the road feels longer than you expected because you are not just building a dream. You are becoming the kind of person capable of sustaining it. That transformation is just as important as the dream itself. One of the greatest mistakes people make is underestimating the power of small beginnings. They think they need massive resources, perfect conditions, or the right connections to start. But dreams are rarely built in perfect conditions. They are built by people who start where they are, with what they have, and improve along the way. The power lies not in doing everything perfectly from the start, but in starting and refusing to stop. Even the smallest progress counts, because each step forward brings you closer to your vision. Patience also teaches you to appreciate the journey rather than rushing through it. The path to your dream is not just a waiting room for the destination. It is the place where you grow, learn, and collect experiences that make the achievement richer when it finally comes. When you understand this, you stop looking for shortcuts and start valuing every part of the process, even the difficult parts. Persistence, patience, and small, consistent actions work together like the gears of a machine. Persistence keeps you moving, patience keeps you steady, and small actions build the foundation, brick by brick. If one is missing, the machine slows down or stops entirely. Together, they create a rhythm of progress that may not always be fast, but is always forward. When you commit to these three qualities, your dream stops being just an idea in your mind and starts becoming a living reality. You will face days when progress feels too slow, and the finish line seems too far away. But if you keep showing up, the day will come when you look back and realize just how far you've come. The dream you once only imagined will be standing before you, not because of one big moment of luck or brilliance, but because you refused to quit. You trusted the timing, and you kept building with every small action you could take. That is how dreams are made. Failure and rejection are part of the journey and make success more meaningful. They are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are proof that you are daring to step outside your comfort zone, that you are reaching for something greater than what you already have. Every successful person you admire has walked through seasons of loss, disappointment, and rejection. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not the absence of failure, but the willingness to rise after each fall. Failure teaches lessons that success cannot. When things go wrong, you are forced to look deeper, think differently, and adapt in ways you wouldn't if everything always worked out. It humbles you and reminds you that growth requires effort. It exposes weaknesses not to shame you, but to give you a chance to strengthen them. In many ways, failure is the universe's way of refining you, removing what is unnecessary and sharpening what is essential so that when success comes, you are truly ready to hold it. Rejection, too, is a powerful teacher. It stings in the moment because it feels personal, but in reality, rejection is often redirection. Sometimes the doors that close are the ones that would have led you down a path that wasn't truly meant for you. Other times, rejection simply means you are not yet prepared for the opportunity you're seeking. Either way, it pushes you to grow. It forces you to re-evaluate, improve, and approach things from a new angle. Without rejection, you might settle too soon or stop striving for better. One of the most empowering realizations you can have is that failure and rejection are not permanent states. They are moments. Temporary stops along the road to your dream. Too many people treat them as final destinations, deciding that one loss means they are not capable. But the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every attempt that doesn't work out is simply another step forward, another piece of the puzzle that will eventually lead you to the breakthrough you've been working toward. It is important to remember that success without struggle often feels hollow. When you work for something and face no obstacles, you may achieve it, but it won't hold the same weight or meaning. It's the fight to get there, the nights you wanted to give up but didn't, the times you stood back up after being knocked down, that makes victory taste so sweet. The more you've had to overcome, the deeper your appreciation for the moment when your dream finally becomes real. History is full of examples of people who turned failure into fuel. Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail 10,000 times when inventing the light bulb. He discovered 10,000 ways that didn't work. Each rejection of his ideas was not a signal to stop, but a signal to try differently. J.K. Rowling faced multiple rejections before Harry Potter became a worldwide phenomenon. These stories aren't special because they are rare, they are special because they remind us that the road to success is built on persistence through setbacks. Embracing failure and rejection as part of the journey also frees you from the fear of them. Fear of failing is one of the biggest reasons people never start. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect guarantee of success, and in doing so, they miss countless opportunities to learn and grow. When you accept that you will fail at times, you take away the power it has to stop you. You begin to see each setback as feedback, as information you can use to move closer to your goal. Another important truth is that failure and rejection build resilience. Every time you recover from a loss, you strengthen your ability to face the next one. You become less shaken by difficulties because you've proven to yourself that you can endure and bounce back. Resilience is one of the most valuable traits you can develop, not just for achieving your dreams, but for navigating life itself. There is also an emotional depth that comes from failure and rejection. They give you empathy for others who are struggling. They make you more compassionate, more understanding, and more grounded. When you've been through hard times yourself, You are better equipped to encourage and inspire others who are facing their own challenges. Your scars become proof that healing is possible, and your story becomes a source of hope for those who are still in the fight. So, when failure comes, and it will, don't see it as a sign to quit. See it as confirmation that you are on the road that matters. When rejection comes, and it will, don't take it as an insult. Take it as a challenge to grow stronger, to improve your approach, and to come back better than before. Each no brings you closer to the yes that will change everything. In the end, success is not defined by avoiding failure, but by refusing to let failure stop you. It's not defined by never being rejected, but by using rejection as a stepping stone. The journey will not be perfect, and it's not supposed to be. Every detour, every closed door, every hard lesson is shaping you into someone capable of handling the success you're working for. And when you finally get there, you will know, deep in your bones, that you earned it, and that is what makes it truly meaningful. You must create your own right moment instead of waiting for perfect conditions. Too many dreams remain trapped in the minds of people who are waiting for everything to align perfectly before they begin. They wait for the right timing, the right resources, the right connections, or the right level of confidence. But perfect conditions are an illusion. Life rarely presents you with a neatly packaged moment when all the stars align and nothing stands in your way. If you wait for that, you may wait forever. The truth is, the right moment is not something you find. It's something you create by taking action with what you have, where you are right now. The idea of waiting feels safe because it allows you to avoid risk. You tell yourself you're being smart and patient, but often it's just fear in disguise. You may think you're waiting for the right time, but deep down, you're waiting to feel ready. Here's the hard truth. You may never feel ready. The first step toward your dream will almost always feel uncomfortable because it requires stepping into the unknown. But progress doesn't come from comfort. It comes from courage. If you're waiting to feel completely prepared, you will miss countless opportunities that could have propelled you forward. Creating your own right moment begins with shifting your mindset from "I'll start when" to "I'll start now, and I'll adapt along the way." The most successful people are not those who had the best circumstances from the start. They are those who started despite imperfect circumstances and learned to make the most of them. They understood that progress is built through motion, not waiting. Once you move, momentum builds. Once momentum builds, doors open that would have stayed shut if you remain still. Taking action in less than perfect conditions also teaches you resourcefulness. When you don't have everything you think you need, you're forced to be creative, to think differently, and to find unconventional solutions. These problem-solving skills will serve you far better than any ideal starting point ever could. The truth is, if you can make progress when things aren't ideal, you'll be unstoppable when they are. You also have to realize that the conditions you think you're waiting for might never happen in the way you expect. Life is unpredictable. The perfect time could be disrupted by events beyond your control, economic shifts, personal challenges, or changing circumstances. If your plan relies entirely on timing, you are building your dream on fragile ground. But if you decide that today is good enough to begin, you take control of your own future rather than leaving it in the hands of chance. Another danger of waiting for perfect conditions is that it can become a habit. The more you delay action, the more comfortable you become with not starting. You convince yourself that you're being strategic, but in reality, you're just training yourself to postpone your dreams. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take the first step because the fear grows stronger and the gap between where you are and where you want to be widens. When you create your own right moment, you send a message to yourself and the world you are serious about your goals. People respect action more than intention. You can talk about your dreams for years, but nothing will change until you act on them. And often, the act of beginning will attract the very resources, opportunities, and connections you thought you needed before starting. By moving first, you make yourself visible to the opportunities that can help you grow. It's also important to remember that your first step doesn't have to be big or perfect. It just has to be real. Small, imperfect actions are infinitely more valuable than endless planning without execution. You don't have to know the entire path before you take the first step. You can figure it out along the way. Every great journey is made one step at a time, and each step reveals more of the road ahead. Creating your own right moment requires courage, but it also requires faith. Faith that you will learn what you need to know, meet the right people, and find the right tools as you move forward. Faith is not blind optimism. It's the belief that your efforts will produce results, even if you can't see them yet. That faith allows you to take risks, try new things, and move forward despite uncertainty. You will never regret starting sooner, but you may deeply regret waiting too long. Time passes, whether you act or not, and every day you delay is a day you could have spent building, learning, and progressing. Imagine where you could be a year from now if you took one step today. Then imagine where you'll still be if you keep waiting for everything to be perfect. The truth is, you don't need the perfect conditions. You need a decision. The moment you decide to start is the moment you create your own perfect time. It may be messy. It may be uncertain, but it will be real. And real action will always beat perfect inaction. So stop waiting for permission, for timing, or for guarantees. Declare that today is your day. Take the step you've been putting off, and watch as the act of moving forward transforms the impossible into the inevitable. Breaking your own limits inspires others to believe they can do the same. Every time you push beyond what you once thought was possible for yourself, you are not only changing your own life, you are lighting a path for others. People watch how you handle challenges, how you rise after falling, and how you keep going when things get difficult. Your actions can give someone else the courage they've been searching for, the permission to dream bigger, and the belief that they too can overcome the barriers in their way. Limits often exist more in our minds than in reality. They are shaped by past experiences, fears, and the opinions of others. When you decide to push past those limits, you are proving that they are not absolute truths, but temporary boundaries that can be moved. This act is powerful because it shows that growth is possible, not just for you, but for anyone willing to try. People may doubt themselves until they see someone they relate to doing something they thought was impossible. That's when a spark ignites in them, and they start to think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. When you break your limits, you create a living example of possibility. Think about the moments in your life when you've been inspired by others. It wasn't their words alone. It was their actions, their persistence, and their willingness to do what most wouldn't. Whether it's an athlete breaking a world record, an entrepreneur building a business from nothing, or an everyday person overcoming personal struggles, their achievements become proof that change is possible. Without realizing it, you have the same power to influence others simply by striving for your own best. It's important to understand that inspiring others doesn't require grand achievements. You don't have to be world famous or perform dramatic feats. Sometimes the most powerful inspiration comes from someone quietly doing the work every day, steadily improving, and refusing to give up. Your determination in the face of obstacles can encourage a friend to take a chance. Your progress in a goal you once thought was out of reach can motivate a family member to start their own journey. Your willingness to keep trying, even when things get hard, can give a stranger the strength to take one more step in their own battle. Breaking limits also changes how people view what's possible for themselves. When you reach a level you once thought was beyond your capabilities, you not only shift your own mindset, you help shift the collective mindset of those who see you. Every barrier broken makes the path a little clearer and the goal a little closer for the next person. This is why breakthroughs often come in waves. Once one person does it, others realize it can be done. The influence works in ways you might never see. People may be watching your journey silently, drawing strength from your persistence, without ever telling you. You might think no one notices your effort, but somewhere someone is using your example as fuel to keep going. Your courage becomes a ripple that spreads far beyond what you can measure, touching lives you may never meet. Breaking limits also inspires because it shows vulnerability and courage at the same time. You are not pretending the challenge is easy. You are showing the struggle, the failures, and the doubts, but continuing anyway. This authenticity resonates deeply with others because it reminds them that they don't have to be perfect to try. They just have to be willing to start and to keep going when things get tough. In many ways, your limits are not just personal. They are shared with the people who look up to you. When you overcome them, you raise the standard for what is possible in your circle, your community, and sometimes even the world. Every time you expand what you're capable of, you give others a bigger vision for their own potential. This is why breaking your own limits is not an act of selfish ambition. It's an act of service. By chasing your own growth, you give others a gift, the belief that they can grow too. You become a living reminder that the boundaries they see in front of them are not unbreakable walls, but challenges waiting to be faced. Of course, breaking limits doesn't happen overnight. It comes from consistent effort, facing setbacks, and choosing to rise again and again. And that journey, the persistence through difficulty, is exactly what makes it so inspiring. People don't just see your victory, they see your resilience. They see the nights you stayed committed when no one was watching. They see the courage it took to keep going when the outcome was uncertain. In the end, every time you break your limits, you're creating more than a personal victory. You're building a bridge for others to cross. You're proving that strength grows when tested, that failure is not final, and that there is always more potential within us than we realize. And someday, someone will look at their own challenges and think of you, not because you told them they could do it, but because you showed them they could. That is the quiet power of breaking your own limits. It turns your personal growth into a source of hope, courage, and belief for others.